conscientious student who loves learning. He has an exciting energy to the classroom through his participation and insightful contributions in class discussions. He takes pride in his work and is a positive student role model for his classmates. Eamon displays kindness to both his teachers and his peers, and he values the time he spends in school. As a proud student and a proud American, he is the perfect choice for leading us in a Pledge of Allegiance this evening. Eamon, would you come down?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will now turn the podium over to Mrs. Ruiz.
Thank you, Mr. Gamache. This evening, we have the pleasure of recognizing and honoring a number of students, as well as our Fall Scholar athletes and two of our coaches. So I will turn the podium over to Mr. Richard Schaefer, our junior senior high school principal, who will recognize our AP scholars and our supermasters.
Good evening. Thank you to Superintendent Ruiz and our Board of Education for the opportunity to honor some of our hardest working and dedicated students tonight. It's my privilege to announce the names of this year's Supermasters and AP Scholars. And a Supermaster designation is given to students that scored 95 or better on one or more Regents exams in June. An AP Scholar designation is given to students scoring 3 or higher on 3 or more AP exams. An AP Scholar with honor is a student with a 3.25 average on 4 or more exams. And an AP Scholar with distinction is a student that has an average of 3.5 on 5 or more exams. So first, I will announce students that were able to join us tonight. If you are here tonight and didn't RSVP, do not fear. I have your certificates and we will get them to you as soon as we go through these. So I'm going to start. Hopefully, we have everyone here. When you are called, please come up, take your folder and your certificate, and assemble on stage so we can take a very nice group photo when you're done. Our first recipient is Isabella Alfieri, who's a Supermaster designation. Luke Rose, Supermaster. Sophia Bertolotti, Supermaster. Elliot Brower, Supermaster. Scott Puzzolani, AP Scholar with Distinction. Gianna Campanero, Supermaster. Murray Connor, Supermaster. Yasmin Derlick, Supermaster. Jeremiah Gonzalez, Supermaster. Zachary Hiroshima, Supermaster and AP Scholar with honor. Martin Lichtenschneider, AP Scholar. Samantha Marks, Supermaster. Kathy McMahon, Supermaster. Megan McMahon, Supermaster. Jason Miller, Supermaster. Timothy Nichols, Supermaster. Nicholas Nunez, Supermaster. Julian Palma, Supermaster. Nicholas Panulo, Supermaster. Matthew Perry, Supermaster. Madeline Prucha, Supermaster. Emily Ramos, Supermaster. Taylor Rampula, Supermaster and AP Scholar. Caitlin Reddy, Supermaster. Isabella Schaefer, Supermaster. Sophia Valdebenito, Supermaster. Alyssa Velasquez Gomez, Supermaster. Sabrija Naljevic, AP Scholar with Distinction. Hunter Vituccio, Supermaster. Yana Wayar, Supermaster and AP Scholar with Honor. I will also go through those students who were not able to be here, and if you happen to be here, then come on up. Oh. Clara Cutie, Supermaster. Logan Ackerman, AP Scholar with Honor. Tristan Aniano, Supermaster and AP Scholar. Anjali Beloy, AP Scholar. Lauren Cronin, Supermaster. Zachary Franson, Supermaster. Daniel Gonzalez, Supermaster and AP Scholar. Colin Hopper, Supermaster. Matthew Makovic, Supermaster. Juliet McCarthy, AP Scholar. Grace McNally, Supermaster. Joseph Mahalik, AP Scholar. Laura Millar, Supermaster and AP Scholar with Distinction. Just as an FYI, some of our graduating seniors from the class of 2019 are on this list, so a lot of them are not home from college yet. Matthew Miller, Supermaster and AP Scholar. Thomas Musto, Supermaster. Emma Neary, Supermaster and AP Scholar with Distinction. Michael Olenecki, Supermaster. Gabriela Pagnianos, Supermaster. Alexander Posa, AP Scholar. Jacqueline Ragusa, AP Scholar. Summer Rodriguez, Supermaster. Natalia Regalia, Supermaster. Spencer Cezanne, Supermaster. Alyssa Walsh, Supermaster. Julia Walsh, Supermaster. And Grace Wooding, Supermaster. And then our AP Scholars and Supermasters.
Wait, show the certificates, not the photo.
Yeah, here's the
That's a good point.
Do you have your certificate?
We'll get it.
Okay, so just, everyone just show your certificates.
Wait a minute, don't take it.
And yeah, just, that's a good idea. Perfect. I will give it to you. All right, ready, guys, look right here. 1, 2, 3. Again. And one more, guys. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations to all of our students and welcome back to our graduates. We're so thrilled to see you. And we wish you all the best. Okay, now I'd like to turn the podium over to our Director of Athletics, Mr. David Barr. Tonight we have the pleasure of recognizing our Fall Scholar athletes, and we're also going to be recognizing two of our beloved coaches for a very important achievement. And we know that not only are athletes amazing, but our athletes would not do all that they were able to do without the guidance of our coaches, dedicated, hardworking, and want to be recognized tonight for their achievements as well. So, Mr. Barr.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to start by thanking the Board of Education and Superintendent Louise for giving me the opportunity tonight to honor our students, coaches, and teams for the success this fall. As a school and community, we have a lot to be proud of, on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. To start, I'd like to publicly recognize our varsity scholar athlete teams from the fall season. In order to achieve the distinction as a New York State varsity scholar athlete team, in order to achieve the distinction as a New York State Scholar Athlete team, a minimum of 75% of the team's roster must average out to 90 GPA or higher, a tremendous accomplishment. This fall, we had 7 of our varsity teams, 88%, achieve this distinction. Varsity volleyball, boys cross country, girls cross country, cheerleading, girls varsity soccer, boys varsity soccer, and girls varsity tennis. So congratulations to those teams. Now, I would like to honor our individual student athletes who were able to achieve excellence in both the classroom and on the field or the court. The athletes that we are about to honor represent the best in both areas. Each of these athletes were selected by their respective coaches associations as a Section 8 award winner for their on-field or court performances. On top of this honor, each one of these athletes achieved the distinction of an individual New York State Scholar Athlete, holding a minimum of a 90% GPA during the season. Achieving one of these honors is an accomplishment all to itself. However, receiving both truly represents the excellence that we as an athletic department and district aim to achieve. All right. First up, we have Mairead Connor. Mairead is a senior team captain and 4-year member of the varsity cross country team. Mairead held over a 90 GPA during the fall season, earned the distinction as an all-conference athlete, and once again, for a 4th consecutive year, competed in the New York State Championship meet. According to Coach Anderson, Mairead is an outstanding scholar athlete who developed into an elite runner. She competed on the varsity cross country team for 4 seasons and made it to the New York State Championship all 4 years. She was awarded Scholar Athlete Award all 4 seasons, all conference in the last 2, and received a coach's award as well this season. She's an exemplary student on and off the track, and she will be missed. Congratulations, Mairead. Next, we have Hunter Bertuccio. Hunter is a senior and 4-year member of the varsity soccer team. She held over a 90 GPA during the soccer season and earned a distinction as an all-conference selection and conference goalkeeper of the year. Hunter is a 3-sport varsity athlete who received a Section 8 award and Scholar Athlete in the last 4 varsity seasons. According to Coach Juarez, Hunter, who was a fullback for the previous 3 seasons, stepped up and entered the goal this season when the team needed a goalkeeper without a batting eye. Hunter put personal wants and desires aside and put her team first. She struggled at first, but never wavered. She learned her lessons and turned into an all-conference performance. By season's end, she was voted as goalkeeper of the conference. She brought the words of Olympic gold medal coach, Coach Herb Brooks, who said, "The name on the front of your jersey is a lot more important than one on the back." Congratulations, Hunter. And next we have Adriana Palizzi. Adriana is a junior on the volleyball team who just completed her first season at the varsity level. She held over a 90 GPA during the volleyball season and was selected by the Coaches Association as an honorable mention All-County player. According to Coach Senya Brito, Adriana is competitive in every sense of the word, both with opponents on the court and herself in the classroom. She strives for excellence and works incredibly hard to achieve her personal goals, a trait that is so greatly appreciated by coaches and teachers alike. Her hard work and talent have helped not only herself be successful, but has allowed our entire team to find success. Adriana is a valuable member of the varsity volleyball team. Congratulations, Adriana. Congratulations to our three athletes who received the Section 8 Award and Scholar Athlete. How about one more round of applause for all three of them? Now I would like to honor two of our longtime coaches. So there are certain milestones in the world of athletics that we honor. We honor these milestones because they are hard to achieve. Scoring 1,000 points in a basketball career, hard to achieve. Scoring 100 goals in a soccer career, also hard to achieve. These milestones are just one piece of a successful program, but a piece that is important to recognize. Coach Pedro and Coach Vito both attended East Rockaway High School and began coaching here together in 1995. 24 years ago, 24 years later, little did they know that the journey they would go on and the impact that they would have on the school and the community. Though, for many of you as you know, though the football program led by Coach Pedro and Vito are so much more than wins and losses, like any milestone, it is important to honor them for theirs. On November 1st, 2019, Coach Russell Pedro and Coach Dan Vito earned their 100th victory in a 26-12 win over Allen Trees, a hard-to-achieve accomplishment that was 24 years in the making. Congratulations, Coach Pedro. Congratulations, Coach Vito. Please come up. Thank you.
Just one more.
So tonight, we have the pleasure of learning a little bit more about our Writers' Workshop model at our elementary school. As many of you know, writing has been a very important goal for our strategic plan over the last 5 years, and we have really made significant strides in this area from all the way from kindergarten up through our writing research model that we have here up at the high school. Today, you're going to get a very in-depth look into the Writers' Workshop. I'm going to turn the podium over to Mrs. Hecht, and she has invited two of our teachers here, one primary, who's going to give you a really clear look into what writing looks like from K-1-2, and one of our intermediate teachers who's going to talk about grades 3 through 6. So I will turn the podium over to Mrs. Hecht.
Thank you. Good evening. It's so nice to see the accomplishments of our high school students and then shift gears a little bit to highlight the work that our elementary teachers and students are doing. So this is the first curriculum presentation of this 2019-2020 school year, and I'm very excited to share the information about the implementation of the Writers' Workshop model in our elementary schools. In a moment, I'm going to introduce two of our teachers, as Mrs. Ruiz just mentioned. And they're both going to share the wonderful work that they and their colleagues and our students have been engaging in as they develop their writing skills from year to year, and you're really going to see that progression. But I want to begin this evening's presentation by sharing a little bit about the purposeful work that we've been doing at the elementary level. We spent much time looking at our students' needs and identifying gaps in our achievement data and investigating the best ways to move our students' academic progress forward. We have not only found and implemented some of the most well-regarded programs out there, we have also worked to create a true culture of learning and a system of instruction that supports the delivery of content in the most productive ways. And we continue to move forward by creating step-by-step a very purposeful system of instruction and implementation. And as you look up there, you see many of the things that we've shared over the last couple of years, the new programs, and the new initiatives, both specific programs that our students are learning and our teachers are implementing, as well as some of our instructional aims with visible learning and focusing on teacher clarity, and the Thinking Maps initiative that continues to go on. So what this means is that we have invested in our students by using Thinking Maps in classrooms around the district, and we have focused on teacher clarity through our visible learning work. I'm continually impressed by all of our teachers, our administrators, and supervisors who are dedicated to ensuring that we're making progress in these areas and that our students are successful. They really are doing an outstanding job. So this evening, we're going to see the wonderful work that's happening in our classrooms around writing. In this presentation, you will see the purposeful delivery of spiraled instruction, where skills advance from year to year. You'll see the use of Thinking Maps as our students organize their plans for writing, and you will observe the development of assessment-capable, visible learners who truly know what success looks like and who are able to measure their own progress along the way. It's an outstanding demonstration of the very purposeful work that is occurring in all of our elementary classrooms. So now I will let the teachers take over. I want to introduce both and thank Mrs. Caroline Drumming, kindergarten teacher at Raymond Avenue School, and Mrs. Tony Andal, fifth grade teacher at Center Avenue School. Take it away.
Okay, thank you for having us. We're going to start off with the units of study. So the units of study are the units that we study over the course of the year. We start off with our narrative, move on to informational and opinion. I'll give you a little background on each of them. The narrative unit of study, well, let me back up. They run about roughly like 12 weeks each unit of study. Narrative starts off where the younger students launch the writing workshop. They work on how to write about stories, true stories that happen to them. And 3 through 5 focuses on the small moments, those seed moments as we call them in the elementary school. It's great to start off the year with the narratives because they just came off of summer vacation. They have a lot of interesting stories, a lot of interesting places, and different experiences. So that is the narrative unit of study. Moving on to the informational, each grade focuses on different topics. K through 2 students learn to write like scientists. They add details, work on labeling, and they begin the research process where the upper grades work on continuing to research, adding in the one-to-one tablets, different books, and they gather information on a certain topic. The last unit of study is the opinion, which we were talking about. We think it's the most challenging out of all of the topics. Students are learning what an opinion is and how to support their claim. For example, in the younger grades, it could be if vanilla ice cream is better than chocolate, something basic like that. And then in the upper grades, they really take a stand whether it's maybe wearing school uniforms or should cell phones be banned, and they really, take ownership to their claim.
So here's a curriculum for grades K to 5, and the writing units of study have high expectations and achievable goals. They help teachers provide their students with instruction, opportunities for practice, and concrete doable goals to help them meet and exceed any high set of high standards. It also has proven tools and methods These units have been piloted many times. The teaching in these books have been planned, taught, revised through a cycle of improvement involving thousands of classrooms and schools around the world. And here we're going to talk more about this later, but a clear instructional arc. Each writing unit represents about 8 weeks of teaching, structured around 3 or 4 bends in the road. Bends are like chapters in the units of study. Rather than tackling the entire journey at once, it is easier to embark on a series of shorter bends or chapters while preparing for the next.
Okay, so that brings us to the structure of the lesson. All the lessons K through 5 look the same structure. We start off with the mini lesson, which is about 10 minutes. That's where we model the skill of the day. So it could be something on author's craft, or even just, creating a hook, something like that. And that is where we model to the students what the skill should look like. The active engagement portion is where we have the students turn and talk and actually practice the skill with a partner to get familiar with that. Then the independent work, where the students work independently, they go off on their own, and all the students could be at different stages. That's kind of like the beauty of this, is that if someone finishes, you can move on, and it's not where they all have to be at the same pace. Teacher at this point can coach in and work with the students on the skills needed in their specific writing that we see through conferencing. Then we always set some time in the lesson for a share out, where the class comes together and celebrates their work, and they're very excited about this portion if they feel that they have a great part that they would like to share. So this is an exciting part of the lesson as well.
So here are some narrative writing samples from grades K to 2. These samples show a clear progression of growth. In kindergarten, students are beginning to write full sentences, stretch out words, and tell a place they went. Here, a kindergarten student wrote, "I went to my cousin's house." In first grade, it becomes more elaborate by writing a good beginning, as you see here. "One rainy day, I was with my friends and my teacher. It was Fun Friday. I was having fun. I built a robot." And in second grade, the details of the small moments become even clearer. "I woke up feeling excited because I knew something fun was going to happen. One sunny day on vacation in Pennsylvania," which is great spelling, inventive spelling. "I was excited for something fun. I went with my family. My brother Rocco was excited too." So you see a clear progression of where they start in kindergarten and how they build on their prior knowledge and skill set from the previous year.
And then that brings us to grades 3 through 5, which you can see even more of a progression in their writing. On the end, in the third grade, they're working with bold words to show their voice. In fourth grade, moving on to dialogue, and you could really see by the time they get to fifth grade how they're writing with expression, punctuation changes, and how they're expressing that a little more sophisticated as they move on throughout the years. This is an example of the teaching points within a small moment writing. This is a thinking map that one of our third grade teachers at Center Avenue used in her class. It shows the mini lessons, which is a good way to keep track of what they're working on, starting from a strong lead, moving on to dialogue, different actions and description, sequencing, show, don't tell, and a mental movie. And it's a good way for the students to, hold accountability to what they're working on and what they need to add to their writing. And she added the visible learning at the bottom with the learning targets, what I can revise in my writing to make it better, why I can become a great writer, and I'll know I'm successful when my draft shows all these revisions. So we're getting used to just embedding visible learning in the writing workshop as well.
Here's a good example of visible learning being used in the lower grades. This is something that John Alvarez had discussed in his visible learning presentation. And through this visible rubric, students are able to explain where they are in the writing process and what they need to do to make it to the next level. They can also use the flow and grow with their peers to complement their work and offer a next step. By doing this, they're using writing language terms and also writing vocabulary. We do this a lot in our share at the end of the workshop, and the students absolutely love it, and they're really able to tell how to get from a 2 to a 3 in the rubric or a 3 to a 4.
Okay, so the units of study are cyclical from K through 5. The units of study build on each other from year to year. For example, kindergartners learn how to write the small moment in the story. First grade then builds on it with the checklist becoming more rigorous. And the cycle continues through the grade levels, having small moments, stories evolve. It's great because by the time they get up to 5th grade, the language is the same and they're just used to the format. So it's kind of second nature just from year to year.
So here's an assessment ladder for K-2, and here's how an ending evolves on a student checklist. The level of rigor lifts from grade to grade. So in kindergarten, students have to state their ending. In 1st grade, students have to find a way to end their story using examples, models. And furthermore, in 2nd grade, they choose an action, talk, or feeling that would make a good ending. The positive to this is students are familiar with the checklist from the previous year and are able to build upon it.
And then this is the assessment ladder from grades 3 through 5. You'll notice there was pictures in the other ones and it gets more mature in their writing here. As I read, you could notice the lead kind of has the same idea, but it just gets a little more in depth. So for grade 3, I wrote a beginning in which I helped readers know who the characters were and what the setting was in my story. Moving on to 4th grade, for the lead, the writer wrote a beginning in which he showed what was happening and where, getting readers into the world of the story. And then bringing us to grade 5, I wrote a beginning in which I not only showed what was happening and where, but also gave some clues to later become a problem of the main character. So it just gets a little more in detail. The checklist, they set a clear instructional arc, and they build upon the previous year, allowing the students to challenge themselves to meet the grade level expectations.
So thinking math support writing workshop in such a beautiful way. In KN1, students can use flow maps to help with the sequence of their stories. They draw pictures to sketch out their ideas before writing. That's something that they can refer back to in the writing process. In 2nd grade, students use a circle map to brainstorm their topics before writing. And they also used a tree map to break down their ideas from a big idea, a watermelon idea, to a smaller moment, a seed idea.
In 3rd grade, we showed how the writers used a circle map to brainstorm their ideas. We start off pretty much in the beginning of every unit of study with a circle map just to brainstorm what we know. We showed in 4th grade a tree map that was used to understand characters and their thoughts and their words. And then in 5th grade, we used a flow map, or a flea map as we would call it. It went from a sequencing flow map, and then underneath we kind of went into a little more detail and gave a little more explanation to show the sequence of their small moment.
So we also link writing to reading as they go hand in hand. Teachers use books to model craft styles by authors such as style, voice, genre, and word choice. And these are just a few examples of the amazing text that Writing Workshop provides. And this is a specific example from an author study we do in K1. We absolutely love Mo Willems and Vivian Jones. The kids are so motivated by them. And here, the author's craft is speech bubbles and exclamation marks. And they also use movement lines. The kids are so motivated by this author, they start to incorporate these things inside of their writing and in their drawings as well.
Okay, one of the mentor texts that we used in grades 3 through 5 is Owl Moon by Jane Yolen. It models a good beginning, and then some of the author's craft moves were similes and metaphors for figurative language. And one that we showed was repetition, and it showed how the owl was repeating its
sounds throughout, and the students love to use that as a model and incorporate that in their writing as well. So in summary, the positives of the work that we've done so far is a common language has been established among grades K to 5 that have set clear expectations for the writing process. Students are using glowing prose, using the language of the Writers Workshop to make their writing even better. And we had a writing celebration in 5th grade where we swapped classes and got to read each other's writing. And it was great to see that the students weren't just saying, your writing is great. They were actually saying, we love your writing, we love the similes, the metaphors. They were using this language throughout. So it's definitely rubbing off from year to year. As you can see in the samples provided, the writing volume has improved. They're writing page and they're asking us to, can we have another book to add more? That's a wonderful thing to hear as a teacher, that they're excited about writing. And so yeah, students are more engaged and motivated to write as well. So last, we have a little video that we put together. Thank you so much to Petra Schoen for helping us create this. A little snapshot of our students talking about their writing process, and you can see how much they've taken from all this work that we've done.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Alex from kindergarten.
Hi Alex, can you talk to us today about your writing piece?
Yes. This is when I went to the Rave Avenue
Halloween Fest?
Halloween Fest.
Very good. Can you start by reading?
I went to Rave Avenue School.
Good job, I see labels there. Okay.
I went with family.
Good, and what did you do here?
I labeled M-E, me.
Good. And how did you end your story? How did you feel?
I am happy. I felt happy.
Good, and tell me about your story here. Why were you happy?
Because I was with all the kids, G.I. Joe, I was Dracula, and labeled M-E, me, and I also write a name because that starts with my name, and I write all instances, his name started with
I like all the detail you added there.
And I also draw the sky. Yeah. Oh, and I draw these like little numbers because for you guys, we know which one is right.
Oh, interesting. So Alex, at the end of your story, how did your checklist help you in your writing?
To see what I was doing. I checked because I told where I went. I labeled. I wrote sentences.
Very well done. So the checklist helps you to see what you're doing and what you weren't doing, right?
Yes.
I think you did an excellent job. Bravo to you. Thanks for sharing your writing.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Slade, and I'm from 2nd grade. I wrote my small moment about my vacation.
And can you read us your first sentence?
Have you ever been to a hotel? Well, I have. A couple weeks ago in October, with my two sisters, Catherine and Caroline, my mom, my dad, and I went to a hotel called Hilton Suites.
Very nice. I love how you caught the reader's attention. Now, you wrote a lot of story in here, a lot of volume, okay? And I see at the end you put a thinking map. How did the thinking map help you in your writing? Here's a circle map.
It helped you by looking at it and saying, oh, I did this at a certain time. And you go back to your story and you write that down.
Very nice. You also added this cool tree map in here, talking about a watermelon idea and a seed idea. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the watermelon idea is like where you're going. So like if you wanted to say, I was going on a bike ride, you would put bike ride. And for the smaller topic, it would be, you would have to write what you've done, and then you write, at the seeds, you write your small moment and like what you're gonna be writing about.
Very nice. Lastly, Jeremy, how did the checklist help you in your writing in second grade?
It helps you by, so if you wanted to use transition words, you'd say, did I do it yet? And if you didn't, you would put it at not yet. If you were starting to, you put it at starting to. And if you've done it, you would put it at yes.
Awesome. And I see other things on here like a good ending, organization. So you follow all those things in your checklist?
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for sharing with us today, Jeremy.
Hey, Atticus.
Hello.
So I wanted to talk to you about your writing process for your personal narrative. Can I ask you, just when you were starting out, what kinds of things did you do to brainstorm about what you were going to write?
I just thought about important moments in my life.
Did you use any maps to kind of help you?
I used a circle map
What did you use that for?
to brainstorm.
All right, so certain maps to brainstorm ideas. And can you do me a favor? Can you read like that first paragraph?
It was a hot week. I was sweating like crazy. After I did one of my summer math packed Dad agreed to bring me to a place I really wanted to go. We hopped into the cool car and went off.
Wow, that is a really good book. What kinds of things did you use to help your reader?
Sensory details.
Sensory details. So when you were going through your process, did you use any checklists to help you include and revise?
We used a, what's it called,
A graph program?
yeah.
And what kinds of things did it help you to do?
It kind of just helped me to see all the things I needed to put in my writing and whether I had them or not.
Okay, what kinds of things?
Like sensory details, more, instead of just like saying, instead of like just saying something, show not tell.
Show not tell, that's really good. I see some dialogue in there too.
Dialogue.
How did you enjoy the writing process?
I just like remembering this moment that I had because I really enjoyed that time.
Mm-hmm. See, that's awesome. Atticus, you did a great job and I really appreciate you sharing this with me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Madeline. So I was taking a look at your personal narrative, and it's really great. I'm seeing a lot of interesting things. But at the back, I also noticed that you have a checklist, and then you also have something called List the Glows and Grows for your writing. Can you tell me what is a glow and what is a grow?
A glow and a grow is basically some criticism that helps you fix a word or some good things that like you should keep on doing.
Okay, and who is the one that's telling you your glows and your grows?
It was my classmate named Michael.
Okay, so you were working with a classmate and he read through your work. And what kinds of things was he talking to you about?
He was talking to me about like the attitude that I had, like the personality in my writing.
Personality in your writing. And when you were doing your glows and grows, were you also looking at your checklist to see what you had?
I was saying, like, if I had things, so I was looking at the checklist.
Okay, what kinds of things specifically on the checklist were you looking to see that you had?
Organization.
Do you feel like that was something you needed to be a little stronger? So when you do this Glow and Grow process, how is it helping you?
It's helping me to find out like what I have to do to make my writing like really good, like a fifth grader's writing.
Fifth graders writing. And did you enjoy this process?
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, well, thank you so much, Marilyn. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was a very, I think, great informative presentation, and we've certainly heard from the students directly. Does the Board of Education have any questions?
I just want to thank all the teachers for posting the work throughout the building. I know one of my favorite things when I visit, especially on like the back to school night or parent-teacher conferences, is walking around the hallways and reading the writing that all of our children do. So I really want to thank you, but please, share that too with all the teachers. It's really appreciated.
I just want to express how using the students in real life, and let them tell the story about, and as you're asking the questions, you really gather how the process is developing. So that was a great way to do it. Thank you. Terrific.
Thank you. I'd like to thank our teachers, Tony Ann and Caroline, and of course, Mrs. Heck for her leadership. I say this often, our all our teachers work very hard, but anytime we do anything new in the elementary school, it's always the same set of teachers because they teach every subject. So they're working very, very hard the last couple of years. And we're so, so proud of the writing because this is not only, we're using the Lucy Calkins units of study, which are evidence-based and they really are very robust in terms of how they support writing. But our teachers are learning how to teach writing, which is really important. It's not a program. It's not a program or a script that tells them what to do. They actually have to develop the skills about how to teach students writing. And what you saw in the video was not just students being interviewed about their writing. What you saw was them really thinking about their thinking, their metacognitive awareness about how they write. And the teachers were just prompting them, but kids know how to talk about their writing, and that's the most powerful. And so, Mr. Volpich, you're right, when you see the process, and kids can speak about it as early as kindergarten and understand what they're doing, it's really amazing. And I've been in both of these classrooms. There's amazing things going on, and I've watched the kindergarten students actually do the glows and grows, and it's really amazing. They're pretty adept because they use rubrics, and it's modeled by the teachers, so they know what good writing looks like. And I'm just, probably this is what I'm most proud of in terms of our accomplishment, because we have come so far in the teaching of writing, and we knew that this was an area that we needed a lot more work in. So kudos to Ms. Hecht and to our teachers, and thank you all for your hard work. Any other questions from the audience? Hopefully we're gonna have some budding writers and authors here in our schools. Thank you. Thank you again.
At this time, are there any comments from members of the public regarding items that appear on the agenda?
Yes, I have a question. 7, really I and J. I don't understand about health and welfare services between East Rockaway and then local school districts. I and J. I don't know how we're connected for health and welfare services.
So these services are billed to us, and then we bill other districts for students who attend private schools, private or parochial schools. and these are for the nursing services that are provided in those schools. So for our resident students who attend parochial or private schools outside of the area, those schools, those districts will bill us for the services, and then we bill the districts who attend the St. Raymond's, which is the school in our boundaries that we provide nursing services. So we hire the nurse at St. Raymond's, and then we bill out the students who attend that school for those health and welfare services.
But are you saying that East Rockaway children are going to school in Lawrence, Long Beach?
Those are the school districts where the private or parochial schools are located.
Even out in the south? Patchogue, Medford?
Um,
I'm on the next page. J continues on and on and on. Yeah, but local, I get it. I didn't realize children could go that far. 11?
Yes.
JM. So East Rockaway children that live within our boundaries, our district boundaries, go to a private school in these areas where that district happens to be.
Yes, for some of them, and then for others, it's for out-of-district students that attend our schools.
Like our life skills program, so if they're coming in here, we have an agreement with those districts to provide certain services for them.
Or the self-contained classes at Raymond as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding items on the agenda? I also just want to thank everyone tuning in at home. We are being live streamed. I want to remember to thank those people for tuning in at the beginning of our meetings. Can I have a motion to approve our minutes from November 19th, 2019 and December 4th, 2019?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Volpes, seconded by Mr. McNally. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so moved. Number 5, we'll acknowledge the monthly reports. We received the monthly financial report from October 2019, and there were no correspondences since the last meeting. At this point, I will turn the microphone over to Mrs. Ruiz for her recommendations.
Thank you. Tonight, I'm recommending that the board accept the resignation of Emily Judge as lacrosse coach effective November 21st, 2019. Also recommend that the board approve the request of Cindy Dower for an unpaid leave of absence for personal medical reasons from her teaching assistant position effective December 17th, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Tonight, we have the pleasure of, I have the pleasure of recommending that the board appoint to a 4-year probationary appointment, Jana Bonacorsi, to the position of Director of Guidance, and Jana is here with us tonight. Jana, can you stand up? We are thrilled to welcome Jana to our district and to our administrative team. She will begin on January 21st after the 3-day weekend. Jana comes to us from the East Williston School District and has a very long, actually, number of positions in school guidance and is very well qualified. And we're looking forward to her coming on board. So welcome. So we are recommending that Jana be appointed effective January 21st through January 20th, 2024 at the prorated step 1 annual salary set forth in the East Rockaway Administrators Association. Also recommending that the board approve the appointment of Gianna Horvath to the position of lead replacement business education teacher effective January 2nd, 2020 through June 30th, 2020 at the step BA step entry salary according to the East Rockaway Teachers Association contract. Also that the board approve the appointment of Lisa Marie Korska to the position of part-time monitor effective December 18, 2019 at step 2 hourly salary from the East Rockaway UPSEU Food Service and Monitor Unit Agreement. Also, the board approved the appointment of Kathleen Gabriel to the position of part-time monitor effective January 6, 2020 at step 1 hourly salary from the East Rockaway UPSEU Food Service and Monitor Unit Agreement. Also, the board approved the request of Teresa Owen for a paid medical leave of absence effective December 3rd, 2019 through on or about January 3rd, 2020. And finally, recommending that the board approve the following temporary assignments at the salary approved by the East Rockaway Board of Ed on the non-contractual salary schedule for substitute workers, and that's Jacqueline Ludwig, substitute monitor, Donna David, concert supervisor, Brian Fox, substitute teacher, and Teresa LaForgia, substitute teacher.
Thank you, Mrs. Ruiz. Are there any questions from my trustees regarding items 6A through 6H? Can I have a motion to approve items 6A through 6H?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schloth,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. O'Hagan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Okay, moving on to number 7, other items. This evening we look to approve the revised non-contractual salary schedule for the 2019-2020 school year. We will look to approve the following resolution. I will not read the entire thing. It's almost 3 pages long. I will read the beginning. This is the bond resolution of the East Rockaway Union Free School District, New York, adopted on December 17, 2019, authorizing the construction of alterations and improvements to district buildings and sites, stating the estimated total cost thereof is not to exceed $27,708,336, appropriating said amount therefore, including $6,200,000 currently on hand and available in district capital reserve funds, and authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $21,508,336 in serial bonds of said district to finance the balance of said appropriation. So when we successfully passed the bond last month, this is a specific resolution that we need to pass, and that specifies how the monies will be spent and allocated. C, to approve the following secret statement. This is for the 2019-2020 capital improvement program at Center Avenue Elementary School. It's the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and this is regarding the project at Center Avenue for the art room casework replacement, the creation of a kiln enclosure unit, and the exterior doors and hardware replacement. D, to approve the professional development consultant agreement between the East Rockaway Union Free School District and Barry McNamara, dated September 1st, 2019, for professional development services during the 2019-2020 school year. E, to approve the terms of the consultant services contract with Gregory P. Franz for the district musical The Wizard of Oz, leading up to and including the public performances. F, to approve the services agreement between East Rockaway Union Free School District and Long Island Jewish Medical Center through its Cohen's Children's Medical Center to provide behavioral health services, and to authorize the President of the Board of Education to execute the agreement on behalf of our school district, subject to final review and approval of the agreement's insurance requirements by our district legal counsel. To approve the K-12 merchant processing agreement between the East Rockaway Union Free School District and Heartland Payment Systems, My School Bucks, dated December 17th, 2019. This will be for the collection of school fees for the 2019-2020 school year. And H reads very similarly, but this right here will actually be for the collection of nutrition payments, and we expect that to start later this school year during the spring. I, to approve the Health and Welfare Services Agreement between East Rockaway Union Free School District and Malvern Union Free School District for Health and Welfare Services for the 2019-2020 school year. And J is to approve the contract for Health and Welfare Services between East Rockaway Union Free School District and the following listed districts for Health and Welfare Services for the 2019-2020 school year. K, we are declaring obsolete for the purpose of disposal and or recycling the following listed items. L, to accept the following donations, and these I do really like to read out loud because it is the generous support of people within our community who is helping our school district. From the Center Avenue PTA, curriculum enhancement grants as follows: a check in the sum of $1,920 for 6th grade activities for the Center Avenue class of 2026, a check in the sum of $50.19 for kindergarten classroom resources, a check in the sum of $59.90 for classroom resources for band students. A grant award from the East Rockaway Education Foundation in the amount of $8,550 in support of district-wide educational programs. This year, they're funding 11 of the individual grants. From the class of 2019, 2 outdoor picnic tables valued at approximately $1,510. And from Tim O'Hagan and EGP Restaurant Food valued at $800 for the friendship basketball games taking place on December 21st, 2019. Are there any questions regarding items 7A through L? Can I have a motion to approve items 7A through L? So moved. So moved by Mr. McNally. Seconded by Mrs. O'Hagan. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Can I have a motion to approve the CSE and CPSE recommendations? So moved. So moved by Mr. Volpes.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schloth. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So moved. This month, we have 4 budget transfers. Are there any questions about the budget transfers?
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve the budget transfers? So moved by Mr. McNally.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. O'Hagan. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, so moved. This month, we have a number of policies up for review. I'm now going to turn the microphone over to Mr. McNally to give a little review on our field trip and excursions discussion.
Okay, the entire board worked on the field trip policy. That was one, and it's not finalized yet, but there were a number of changes that we were looking at, like the age, the appropriate age of going on field trips, especially longer field trips, out-of-state field trips, air travel. So those are all the things, we looked at all of those things and other things. It's not finalized yet, but we were talking about going on a case-by-case basis, but again, not everything is final. Those are the main things we were looking at that policy.
So we're going to be updating that soon and continuing our discussion at our next policy subcommittee as well as future work sessions. Moving on to number 11, the board, my report. I have 3 items to report on this month. As indicated in the action agenda this evening, we are moving forward with the cooperative service agreement. And once the clinic is up and running with Northwell Health, we will keep parents informed. We've been working on this throughout the summer. We've held discussions at various work sessions and board meetings, and we're excited to see it finally come to fruition. And as stated in the agenda, that is pending final review by our attorneys, but everything looks good at this point in time. With regard to the bond, we are developing a timeline for projects with our district architect, and we'll share more information once we have a better idea regarding coordination of projects with outside agencies, including the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery. On December 4th, we had an excellent meeting with GOSER that involved a project overview, a schedule, and agreements to move forward. We anticipate moving a resolution or passing a resolution for our first agreement with them at our January meeting, and we'll continue to keep you updated as things progress. And finally, a conversation we had regarding our district-wide school safety team. Over the past few years, we've made significant upgrades to safety district-wide, from upgrading camera systems, adding personnel inside and outside all of the buildings, creating security vestibules, and working closely with our security consultants, Altaris. We will continue to investigate products and services that are recommended in line with best practices and can be accomplished in a financially responsible manner. A couple of years ago, we held a safety forum. It was informative and well attended, and we will discuss if and when another similar forum would be appropriate to have again. And that concludes my report. I will now turn the microphone over to Mr. Volpes to report on the communications subcommittee.
Communication Subcommittee met on December the 3rd for our first meeting of the year. This is the second year in existence of the Communication Subcommittee. The charge of the committee, the goal is to create a positive discussion that will potentially drive future district communications decisions. And there are many ways that the district communicates with the community itself. So last year, the subcommittee made several recommendations to the board, and they're already being implemented. This year, we started off with many of the members from last year, and the discussion revolved around, you had a partner, and you asked them why they were there, what they felt they can contribute, and why they wanted to be part of this committee. And we did that because what will happen now is that we'll use that as the foundation for now new communications around the district, okay, from each member. And it goes from the bottom up, and that was the success of this committee last year. And the first meeting was fantastic, and we're looking forward to another good year.
Thank you, Mr. Voltis. Mrs. Ruiz, your superintendent's report.
Thank you. Parents should have received today a letter informing them about our school climate survey, which will be launched on January 8th. The window for the survey for parents and guardians, families will be open from January 8th through January 21st. The survey will ask families for feedback on student support, academic preparation, safety and behavior, school leadership, and family involvement. And the results will assist us to determine strengths, identify opportunities for improvement, and then develop action plans for each building, as well as inform our strategic planning process. We will receive regular participation updates so that if necessary, we can send out reminders. We're hoping to get a robust return because the feedback about how our schools operate is really important to us, especially from our parents, but the survey will also be offered to all staff as well as all students in grades 3 through 12. So we will be sharing the results with the Board of Education and then the community through various different ways. But most importantly, our buildings will use the survey results that they receive back to make improvements in how we go about our business and also to drive the strategic plan. I want to thank Mr. Rouse, who's been working very hard to compile the data, create spreadsheets, because this survey will only be going out to parents through a link. So parents will receive an email, should go out on January 8th, and that link will be specific to that family. Right at this point in time, it's not a community survey, but it's a parents' experiences with their children's schools. So if you have children in more than one school, you'll be able to answer with regarding both schools. And of course, our students and our staff will answer what their experiences have been. And then we'll be looking for alignment as well as some perceptual discrepancies in terms of how students versus parents versus faculty see our schools and where the strengths lie. So we're really excited about that. This is a requirement for New York State. So this is the first year that it is required. The past several years, some districts have signed on to pilot it. I think the first one was 2 or 3 years ago. And again, this is the first year that all districts will be required to do so. In the area of achievement, Raymond Center Avenue teachers visited Port Washington and Valley Stream District 13 to observe primary grade classroom and intermediate grade classrooms to see one of the reading programs that we are considering for adoption for the next school year. We're very excited about this. We've been using Journeys, which really hasn't been meeting our needs, and it's also an older program when the Common Core came out, so we're very excited to move forward with recommendation from our reading committee under Ms. Heck's guidance. So thank you to all of our teachers on that committee, teachers and administrators on the committee, as well as Ms. Heck. I did neglect to thank the principals before when we were talking about writing instruction, and I apologize for that because they are also providing strong leadership for the success and the growth that has been made in our buildings. So excuse that oversight. Students in grades 4 through 6 were recognized for their academic growth and excellence, for their first report card period, for high honors and meeting the criteria for the STAR program. From our music department, senior Spencer Senzan completed competed, in all-state conference music competition, and senior high school chorus performed at Radio City Music Hall on Friday. I had the pleasure of attending. It was a lovely, lovely performance, and I know our students were very excited to be on stage. Seniors Chris Perry and Caitlin Reddy were honored at the Nassau Zone Physical Education as Nassau's Zone Physical Education Students of the Year, the New York State Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. On November 21st, senior Aiden O'Connor signed his national letter of intent to continue his athletic career next fall at St. Thomas Aquinas College. As Mr. Gamache said, we are moving forward with the Northwell Health Clinic, Northwell Health Behavioral Clinic, and we had the pleasure of meeting with a psychiatrist as well as a mental health counselor today. We had all of our mental health staff and school counselors present, as well as our health teacher and a number of our administrators, central office and building, to meet, to learn how the process will work, what the referral process will look like, and how the clinic will operate, and what will our relationship with the clinic look like. All of our providers and administrators had a chance to ask questions, and I think it was a valuable exchange. The clinic will actually open on January 2nd, so we're very, very excited about how that will best serve our students and our families. We will be partnering with Baldwin, Oceanside, Rockville Center, Hewlett-Woodmere, Freeport, and possibly Lynbrook, as well as in our own district in this endeavor. And we will be monitoring our participation very closely to see if this meets our needs. We'll be collecting data on students just for the purposes of evaluating the program from students, families, as well as from our providers. And we will also be forming an advisory committee so that school superintendents can work side by side with Northwell Health to ensure that this pilot program is effective for supporting students with mental health needs. We have had a very busy couple of weeks. On Friday morning, I believe it was, last week, we had a team of 14 engineers and project managers from the Department of Environmental Conservation, Nassau County Department of Public Works, and various engineering firms from Albany, who came to visit our site, which has been identified as the Bay Park Sewage Treatment Plant Effluent Project. This project, you may have seen the article in the Herald last week, is going to connect the sewage treatment from the Bay Park area, and they're going to run piping all the way from there underneath our property, connecting other properties up to Sunrise Highway. There is a water aqueduct, Mr. Daly, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Old water aqueduct, and the sewage treatment will be moved along that piping all the way to Wantagh and then back out into the Atlantic Ocean. And it's a big, important project. I believe that the governor has identified as an environmental benefit, and so this is separate from the GOSER, Governor's Office of Storm Recovery Project, and Living with the Bay. So we believe they will be on site probably in the fall to begin the work on this project, and they will need to work in an area that's about a 30-foot diameter wide area to dig down and to put the piping in. And so we are in preliminary conversations with what exactly that will look like. And it appears that in order to kind of compensate the district for allowing them to use our property to lay this piping, that there will be some benefits to the district as well. So our next step will be to coordinate a meeting with the Living with the Bay team, as well as this Bay Park team. So there'll be probably about 50 people in the room, given the meetings that we've had, because Living with the Bay project is also moving forward. And last week we had a very positive and productive meeting with the Board of Education, and the scope of work was explained to the board. as well as the timeline for the Living with the Bay project. So what we actually have to do right now is to get everybody in the same room so that we can coordinate this project, the Living with the Bay project, as well as our bond work, so that that can be coordinated and piggybacked one on the other so that we don't duplicate, and the work of these two entities is not duplicated and it runs smoothly. So we're really very encouraged by this. This group has been very cooperative and very positive. I know Mr. Daly's been working very closely with them, coming on our property to do test borings. And this is really the first kind of informal meeting that we had that identified the specific scope of this work and how it will affect our school community. I would encourage you to read the article in the Herald. You can find it online as well. And we will be reporting back to you as new information becomes available. So it is possible that they will impact the work on the field and hopefully take on the responsibility for some of that, the athletic field work. Right now, we're not really clear exactly what that will be, but we are continuing to pursue that and work closely with them. K-Kids sponsored our mitten tree in support of families in need during the holiday season. That's in our elementary schools. Families decorated a holiday mitten and made a dollar donation to support families with items to bring holiday cheer to those in need. Center and Rame Avenue school choruses performed Christmas carols during the East Rockaway Village tree lighting ceremony. It's always a beautiful event every year. The Adopt an Advisory Program, as part of the New York State Peer Mentoring Program, has begun. 27 11th and 12th graders have volunteered to mentor students in middle school advisory during the school year, and these students have been trained by Diane Urso, who is our contact from the Office of Children and Family Services. This is the New York State Mentoring Program under, well, she's affiliated with it, Matilda Cuomo, who I guess began this program many years ago when her husband was governor, and now it's been resurrected several years ago. I think this is our third year participating in the program at no cost to the district. East Rockaway High School social worker Kristen Mednick accompanied select 10th graders to the Peer AIDS Education and Prevention Training Program at North Shore University Hospital. The purpose of this program is to educate high school students about HIV/AIDS and provide training in how to communicate this prevention information to their peers. East Rockaway High School students, assisted by social worker Maureen Shutter, volunteered at the town of Hempstead's Camp Anchor, answering the needs of citizens with handicaps through organized recreation. At their winter holiday fest, they assisted those children and adults with special needs, special requests, for homemade ornaments and decorations. Also aligned to the New York State standards, high school social workers pushed into social studies classrooms in December to deliver lessons on mental health. The push-ins will continue each month on a different subject, and this is part of the new mandate for mental health. In the area of opportunity, Raymond Center Avenue 3rd through 6th grade students will collaborate to perform during the district winter concert. Performances will feature chorus, band, and orchestra. We have our elementary concert tomorrow and our high school, junior senior high school concert on Thursday evening. 35 ninth grade AVID students went to Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia to attend an AVID College Day, which included a college fair with over 30 colleges represented and a panel discussion led by Philadelphia 76ers executives. They spoke to students about marketing themselves for college and also received a stadium tour and stayed for the night's game of the 76ers. Representative from Northwell Health visited senior high health classes to present Stop the Bleed training for 10th and 11th grade students. This was something we were committed to last year. We brought it into the district for some of our students as well as to our community through our high school PTA, which sponsored that. It really was a very valuable training, and we hopefully will be offering it again for our community this year. But thank you to Mr. Barth and Mr. Rinn for spearheading this for our students. Students learn the importance of first calling 911 in any type of life-threatening bleeding situation, and then how to pack a wound, apply pressure, and use a tourniquet. Alumni Day at the high school took place on November 27th, the day before Thanksgiving. Over 25 members of the class of 2019 came to speak to students about how to best prepare for college and what their first few months at college have been like for them. In the area of innovation, almost done, students in grade 3 through 6 are designing, building, and programming rovers during their STEAM sessions with Ms. Healy. Throughout the process, they collaborate and problem solve with their partners to create functional rovers. And we're really proud that this program has continued to evolve. Each year as the program has progressed, more and different and new initiatives as well and opportunities in design and STEAM, the area of STEAM have been created for our students as they participate. I think we're in year 4 now, so the curriculum then can roll over. East Rockaway High School physics students competed an exciting and I need new glasses, I think. Exciting and interactive engineering competition. In small groups, they were given a piece of computer paper, scotch tape, and a pair of scissors to build a freestanding tower. Each group had 1 period to build the tallest possible tower, and then were able to start over and begin with a new sheet of computer paper at any point during the activity. Students in AP World Modern class at junior senior high school took part in a historical speed dating review activity where they each took on the role of a historical figure from 1450 to 1750. They were then went on several mini speed dates to learn about other figures from the same time period. And with that, they had to write analysis statements explaining their compatibility with these other figures. The activity helped students to not only review important content, but also to understand the perspectives of people from a variety of cultures and backgrounds. One more item. Tonight we had a chance to view our basketball game. We have a new system that live streams our athletic events, so thank you to Mr. Barth for that. I guess there'll be information on our website on how parents can and community members can subscribe to that. You'll be able to see the games streamed live not only in our large gym, but in the spring and the fall out on the athletic fields outside. And you'll be able to see the games after the game has been completed. You'll be able to see it for free, right?
Yes, coaches will be able to email links out to parents.
Parents. So and that can be shared at no cost. So we're very excited about this. It's brand new. It was just launched today. So thank you to Mr. Barth for arranging for that.
Thank you, Mrs. Ruiz, for continuing to share all of the incredible things that are happening in our district each month. Moving on to good and welfare, we want to extend our condolences to Ms. Alyssa Nunez and family on the passing of her grandmother, Phyllis Herman, on November 30th. And our condolences to Marianne Napolitano and family on the passing of her brother, John McCormick. At this point, we move on to period of public comment. I do want to remind everyone to please note, if you wish to speak, you should fill out one of the cards and to comply with all provisions of board policy. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes and refrain from addressing topics related to personnel matters or individual students. Such concerns should be discussed privately with an administrator or the superintendent at an appropriate time. We are here to listen and cannot provide immediate feedback or engage in open dialogue. Any necessary follow-up will be noted and provided at a later date. Is there anybody here for public comment?
Fill out a card.
If you did, you can, just so we have your name, but just state your name at the microphone.
Randy O'Moore. I have a child at high school. Because you brought up trips, I would like the board to consider once again the trips to Europe for the older children. I had the wonderful opportunity to go to Europe with my oldest child the last year that the school district was, running those trips. It was a phenomenal opportunity, a phenomenal experience with some fantastic children and staff. I'm well aware of how the world is, but I would like the board to consider it once again. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Any Any other comments?
Can I fill out a card or can I just?
Well, you come on up and state your name, please.
Hey, my name is Ralph Macatone. My daughter is a student here. The thing I'm having a little problem with is her homework. And it's, some teachers put the homework on the porthole, some teachers put it on Google Classroom. Is there any way they can put it on one thing? I mean, to make it easier. I'm divorced and I don't have it for like a couple of hours a night, and it's.
Right. No, and I thank you for bringing that to our attention. I also do encourage you to talk with your daughter's teacher as well as the principal. As technologies shift and change too, we implement different things, and then getting consistency across the board too with the teachers is something that sometimes has to happen over time.
Well, see, that's what I'm looking for, like some kind of consistency.
Right.
There's another teacher that puts it on the board, which is, a whole other thing.
Right.
Just so if I can speak to it, the communications committee, this was well talked out last year by the community members. And one of the things was the ability to deliver information comes in many different forms and fashions. And teachers have that same form and fashion delivery. Right. So they really thought that, the way it's being delivered now is the way, because it'll take the strength of the teacher, what they're doing, and deliver it. And what Mr. Gamache said is that one of the things is that if it's not being delivered in your likeness, you should reach out to that teacher, explain your situation, and then if they don't get back to you, then bring it to their supervisor on that one.
Well, I just figured it would be like some kind of consistency. Can they all just put the homework on Google Classroom, or can they just put it on the portal? Not one puts it here, one puts it there. I mean, I get like 7 different things from Google, from the portal every day. Can they just put it there, or?
Again, one of the things that happened was there's different terms of the ability to deliver information in and out, as we know, have many different forms and fashions. Teachers come aboard in different ways. They board on it differently. Some started sooner, some started later, some are more familiar with one than the other. And that's why we had this big discussion last year, with the communications committee on this. And it really was, let it be consistent is not a good way because it pigeonholes. You might not be, maybe you're a parent who doesn't know how to use the portal, but they know how to use, whatever device you're using. So it really was a matter of, if you were having trouble as a parent, reach out to the teachers, let them know that, and how you would like it, and if that could be worked out. And if you don't have any satisfaction with that, then go to the next step, which is to their supervisor.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Walsh.
Hi, Regina Walsh. I'd just like to piggyback on Randy O'Moore's comment about the travel. And so you said that the field trip excursions are still kind of being discussed, correct? And I was just curious if you will have the opportunity to put out maybe a parent survey out, because maybe you don't realize how many parents really support the travel and would be very happy if the air travel was brought back, either domestically or internationally or both. So I don't know if there's a way you can get more feedback from parents, if you were planning on looking for more feedback from parents as to how many of us would be supportive of that.
I mean, it's something definitely that we will continue to discuss. I know from the decision we made in the past too, were concerns regarding the district's overall responsibility too, if some type of tragedy happened, or if alerts came in, say from the government giving travel advisories or warnings, and for us to potentially be in the position of canceling a trip, and then families either not getting, a lot of the companies won't give refunds.
Right.
They'll give some type of voucher for future travel that may or may not be feasible for some people. So those are the types of things that we do debate and discuss. But as we are continuing discussion with this, and it's a good time for you to bring it up and share with us, and we will consider, that out there. So I appreciate your sharing that with us. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Very good, so we'll move on at this time to board member comments, and we'll start this evening with Mr. Volpus.
Thank you. I see Dan O'Moore in the audience, and Dan, hi Dan. I want to thank you. If you remember many years ago, you came and you talked about a turf field in the back, and why couldn't we do this? And you made presentations to the Daily, you made presentations to the superintendent at the time. And I want to thank you for your persistence, because long haul, all right, but yet it's there, and you should be proud of that. So thank you for that.
Thank you, yes.
You're welcome. I also want to thank the East Rockaway Education Foundation, but more so the administrators and teachers with them, because there's 11 people who apply, individual grants, 11. And to me, that speaks volumes. That speaks that we have faculty, we have administrators who really want to do extra above and beyond. And that's what the Ed Foundation provides for. So thanks to the Ed Foundation, working real hard and coming up with that money, but more so that we have 11 individuals that are going to do even bigger and better things in East Rockaway schools with the money that are allotted for that. So thank you all. I want to thank Shauna Silva. I had a great time at Radio City the other night with the chorus singing, and it was just great. I just wanted them to be on the stage longer. One song didn't cut it for me. They were too good for that. I want to thank the administrators tonight for coming to dinner with us, taking time out of your busy schedules, and supporting the board and what we work with, just as well as we support you and your endeavors here with our students. So thank you again for sharing dinner with us at Christmas time. And last but not least, it's actually two more things. One is the Long Island Jewish Medical Center and Cohen's Children's Hospital. I can't tell you how elated I am that we're going into this venture. We talked long about this. We started at an unrealistic figure coming from Cohen's and the program, all the way down to a very workable figure for the board to consider it, and for our students to gain the best of safety and their welfare when the time of need is out there. And it really is a great plug for the district, but more so that Ms. Ruiz kept with that and kept saying to them, you know what, you got to do a little bit better, you got to do a little bit better. And finally got them down to the point where all the consortium of schools that are in there came to a much better pricing and really looking out for what we do as a district here. So thank you all for that. And last but not least, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you. Mr. McNally?
Okay, just a few quick things. First, I'd like to thank all the administrators for having dinner with us tonight. Again, like what Mr. Volpus said, we want to support all of you, and it was just nice to be able to talk to you all tonight. And I want to welcome Mrs. Bowden, of course, to the team. We're all very happy that you're here, and you guys were awesome. Great job. To see the students and the progression, you guys are awesome. Great job. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McNally. Mr. Sloat?
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to join my colleagues in what they just said, and I won't repeat it, but I do got to thank the administrators for joining us. So nice to be able to chat with you informally, and thanks for all the hard work you've done this year. I wanted to thank the teachers at home with us tonight, Mrs. Hecht, for the workshop that they provided us today. I have to tell you, it's such an important skill, and it's so good to see our district prioritizing that. Having two sons that just graduated with their masters, writing skills are critically important, and we all could see from this presentation that this is really stepping up what we give our kids and give them a chance to become real good writers. Thank you for your efforts. I also want to thank Mr. Arouse for coming to our board meetings and live streaming for us. It's another job he's taken on. Thank you. I want to join with Mr. Volpus in stressing the value of this association that we're getting with Northwell and this, the mental health clinic and the crisis intervention that they're going to be able to give us. When we have a situation where one of our kids needs help, a lot of times, their parents are put into a very difficult position of choosing what to do next. And now with this involvement, they will have different interventional services available to them that will help them get the services they need without having to stumble through it and have insurance regulations sometimes dictate what they're going to do. So it's a real good thing for our kids at a time that they need it during a crisis. And I salute our school district and my colleagues and our administration for prioritizing it. It's a really important thing. The other thing I just want to let everyone know is my colleagues and Ms. Marie, our superintendent, have allowed me to get involved with the safety team as a member from the board, and I'm going to report back to the board and the community, just so that everybody knows how important safety is to the board, has always been, and we want to stay as involved as we can, and I'm going to get involved with that and report back to everyone. And I also want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season, and thank you for attending tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Schloth.
Can I interrupt 1 second only because Mr. Schloth thanked Mr. Rouse. The board had made live streaming a priority. It was a recommendation from the communications subcommittee last year. And so in one way to do that, Mr. Rouse had volunteered to start it, but we really felt our students should be working hands-on to do that because they can certainly are capable of that skill. So tonight we appointed Ms. Maney, who's going to be the club advisor and who's going to be working with our students in the future to live stream our board meetings. So thank you, Mrs. Maney, for stepping up to do that, and we look forward to thank you.
Sorry for interrupting, that's fine. Mrs. O'Hagan.
I would also like to echo, I'm just going to turn because thank you for sharing with my colleague and for all your support. And welcome to the Stratford family. Wish you the best in your new position. Thank you, Ms. Donald and Ms. Drowning, for your presentation this evening. This certainly seems like an amazing program, and I'm truly impressed with the work produced by your young writers and how articulate they were. And I also would like to congratulate tonight's scholars that were recognized, and Coach Pedro and Coach Vito on their 100th win. Their passion and dedication do not go unnoticed, and it's hard to believe that they started 24 years ago, considering that's when I graduated from here. And I would also like to wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday season.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Hagan. And one of the most fun things about going last is I got to sit here and cross off all of the other thank yous, so I can just echo all of those wonderful things. I do have one other thing to add, and that is that over the weekend, I was approached by a parent with a concern that they had about their child in a situation. I was happy to hear that they had gone to the staff member most closely involved with that situation, and then they were looking to me to get, where do I go next? So I did let them know that we have a protocol to follow. It is who do I call with a question or suggestion. I just want to remind everybody this is on the website. It's under the tab for parents and students. And we really did develop this communication protocol to promote direct, open, and respectful interactions so that problems and concerns can be worked out quickly and efficiently. And then if an issue is not resolved and ultimately it's brought to our attention after all proper channels have been followed, we will listen to the complaint and work appropriately with our administration to achieve a responsible resolution. We have district policies that establish this protocol, and it's respectful to the professionals who work in our schools and with our children to follow that protocol. So I did just want to take the opportunity to remind everyone of that. And I would also like to wish everyone a wonderful and safe holiday season with friends and family, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting at 8:47? So moved by Mrs. O'Hagan, seconded by Mr. McNally. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so moved. Thank you very much. Have a great night and enjoy your holidays. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
There we go.